We recently went to Ghana back in early June, and it was a fantastic trip, but it wasn't just a getaway. What was the purpose of us going?
Well, the purpose of us going primarily was to look at land. We wanted to see how much the land costs, the different lands that were in Ghana, like in Abri, in Prom Prom, and Shah Hills. We looked around at a lot of countries, and the land in Ghana was affordable and it had amazing views. So our primary purpose was to go there to look for land and eventually build our home.
So we needed a realtor. How did you first connect with Hanna at E Realty, and what kind of property were you looking for?
Well, I started connecting with Hanna after looking on YouTube and searching for land and property in other countries. And as I started to look for land and property, I came across a video on YouTube talking about Shark Island and how much the condos were. I contacted one of the real estate agents Shark Island was using, and it was Hanna from E Realty. So I didn't know who she was at the time. So I contacted her, left her voicemail, emailed her, and she contacted me back, and we started talking about what I was looking for, because she just didn't have options in Ghana. She had options elsewhere as well. So we started keeping in touch, and from time to time I was still doing my research, and eventually I swung back around to her, and I found out that she was coming to Charlotte for like a conference. We met up with Hanna and we took her out and we just picked her brain. That's when we really put Ghana on the map for us, because she was telling us how inexpensive the land was and how great the views was and the country and the society was. So that's what made us look at Hanna and her company, E Realty.
What was your first impression of her and her team? It was Sammy and Joel who helped us out. They were great, but what was your first impression of them?
My first impression of Hanna first was she was sharp. She knew the market. She had sold real estate in the United States, and she understands what the diaspora is looking for. And the way she listened, how patient she was, really impressed upon me that she really cares about her people that she works with. She cares about the people she represents, and that was long lasting for me. Sammy was really good too. He was very friendly. He was knowledgeable about the area, different areas in the country, as far as land and the population, and different where things were, like where gas stations were, where grocery stores were, how far are we from this and how far are we from that. He was very knowledgeable about that. And all of that, the interaction with Hanna, the interaction with her team, when we went there, we had an itinerary set up, so we knew what we were going, how long it was going to take us, and everything was just flawless. And so that really helped me put confidence in her and her team and her company.
There were some times when we had some Zoom calls. Do you remember those Zoom calls where we had to be up around 5 o'clock in the morning Eastern or 7 a.m. Eastern?
Yes.
What was that like? And what was it for?
Well, that was a different experience. It was new to me because Ghana is 4 hours ahead of U.S. time, Eastern Standard Time. The calls were very educational, very informative. Hanna asked questions about what we were looking for, what's plan A, what's plan B, what's plan C, and then she sent us links to give us an idea of what the land looked like, what certain areas look like. And even though, when we got up early in the morning, it was for Sammy to go out and look at the land. So we did those Zoom calls. He would share his camera, and we could see what the land looked like. We could see him walking through the land, and it made us feel confident in what we were seeing, so that when we actually went to Ghana, we knew, we had an idea in our minds what the land looked like and what we were in for. By him going to the land and showing us, we could sell in our minds, okay, this is what this looks like, this is what that looks like. And we started to build an idea You know, we build around the right idea, not the wrong idea.
So we did end up picking a plot of land, and I really appreciated that Sammy, Joel, and our chauffeur, you know, really took good care of us. We went through some pretty rough terrain. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, after a while, a lot of it started looking alike. But what was it about the land that we ended up selecting that stood out to you?
The land that we ended up selecting was very fertile. It was in a Brie. It was in a region where there was rain. It was not as humid. It rained and kept the temperature around, you know, the mid 70s, and it just looked like you were in another world, you know, because where Brie was, it's like, I wouldn't say it's jungle, but it's very lush and green, like a paradise. And so that's what it reminded me of being in, like a paradise, you know. And there was different trees everywhere, fruit trees everywhere. It was lively. And so the other options that we looked at didn't compare to the land in the Brie. Hanna really took us under her wing, and she put us in touch with good lawyers. Like, she has her own entourage of lawyers that she has handpicked for her customers, you know. So she gave us a lawyer, and he was very good, and he walked us through the entire process. He said, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. These are the wire transfer numbers, these are the banks you need to utilize. You know, she would even tell us about the banks we need to utilize to be able to transfer money quickly to Ghana, and to set up an escrow. Not just to send our money to the builder, but set up an escrow that the lawyer would set up for us, and then he would disperse the money to the builder, or he would disperse the money to certain people on our behalf. He would act as our agent there. So that made us feel a lot more secure, because Ghana is a developing country, and they're moving, you know, as far as transfers, legal things, and how money is handled. They're moving a lot closer to how things are done in the States, and that makes us as diasporans feel secure and confident, you know, that our money is going somewhere it's safe, and if we want it sent back, it can be sent back.
So that actually, what you said actually brought back a memory. When you're talking about feeling comfortable and safe, I remember when Sammy was taking us to see a few properties, and the property owner was there and showing us aspects of the land. And I remember Sammy taking us to the side and whispering to us, you might not want to do that because of X, Y, and Z, or do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
How did you feel about his advice on the side, on the way that he looked out for us? It wasn't just about selling a property or making a commission. To me, it was like he didn't have to warn us about certain things. He could have just let us go for it. But how did you feel about that?
I felt protected. You know, Sammy was trained very well. Of course, Hanna had the training that she provided to all her employees was top notch. You know, he told us the ins and outs of the property, what he suggested, what he didn't suggest. If someone was telling half-truths, if someone wasn't telling half-truths, you know, where, you know, a price range was, if they were trying to gouge us or anything like that. So Sammy knew his ABCs very well, and I felt very confident him being our agent and us being under his care.
That's fantastic. And it was very wonderful traveling with them while we were there. I likewise felt safe and secure. So ultimately, would you recommend E-Wells Realty to anyone here in the United States or wherever they happen to reside?
Yes, 100%. I wouldn't trust anyone else but Hanna and her team, E-Wells Realty, because they're properly trained. They know Ghana. They know the area. They know the culture. They know the trends. They know the prices, the ranges. Things change every day. They're up on everything that they need to know in their country, and they make us feel confident in transferring money. My interest, my money, and my time was valuable, you know. So I would trust any diasporan from the United States. Go to E-Wells Realty. Don't go anywhere else. Go to them. They have pioneered the real estate in Ghana. Hanna was there at the very beginning, and you know, she's just very patient. She's very trustworthy, and she knows the market in and out. And the most important thing I feel, she knows what we want as diasporans. She knows what we want, what we're looking for. You know, she understands both worlds, the world of the diasporan and the world of the Ghanaian. So definitely, I would tell everybody, go to E. Wells Realty.
All right, fantastic. And I feel the same way, because when Sammy reached out and said, hey, you mind doing a testimony? I said, absolutely. We would be happy to create a testimony for you. And me, myself, the person that I am, I'm not going to say anything about anybody that's not the truth and hype up a business that isn't worth the hype. So thank you to E. Wells Realty. Thank you, Sammy. Thank you, Joel. And of course, last and certainly not least, thank you, Hanna, for helping us to make our dreams come possible. So you have sat down for a few minutes with Jonathan and Venus out of Charlotte, North Carolina, United States, and we wish you the best.